Hello, this is Mark Abel with Mark Abel Rants. So I was watching a review recently about the Microsoft Studio desktop, and I think it's disappointing for a number of reasons. Uh, from an ecological sustainability perspective, I think it's really important that consumers embrace modular design. That is, pieces of technology that allow for regular upgrades without throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I'm a big advocate of desktop tower PCs because of their upgradability. In the case of my Alienware desktop X51 that I have in the other room, that tower was only $600. I bought it 2 years ago, and I can actually put in new RAM anytime I want. I can swap out the video card anytime I want. I have the Alienware graphics accelerator, allows me to install an even larger graphics card like the NVIDIA 8 gig cards as an external device if it won't fit in the chassis there. And I think my concern with the Microsoft Studio is that it's really consistent with Annie Leonard's concerns that planned obsolescence has been built into a lot of consumer products today in industrial design, and that like the all-in-one Mac desktops, you're pretty much left with the processor you get out of the box, the RAM that you have out of the box, the hard drive that you have out of the box. And with regard to Moore's Law, the amount of transistors on a circuit are doubling every 18 months. So every year you should be able to buy a computer that's twice as fast at half the cost. So these all-in-one arrangements are concerning because components are getting faster and cheaper, and yet you're gonna stick with what you had out of the box 2 years ago. This is promoting a waste of resources. It takes a lot of petroleum and metal and glass and silicone to produce these circuit boards, to produce the aluminum and titanium and stainless steel chassis for these devices. And as a culture, we need to adopt a more sustainable approach toward the products that we consume and utilize on a regular basis. My other concerns with the Microsoft Studio are that the monitor does not detach from the processor and other hardware, so you can't swap in a new hard drive, a new processor, or new RAM, or a new graphics card as things improve. My other concerns are that in the review that I watched, a couple professional artists that they brought on to test out the studio, they recognized that the device that they're using to produce their drawings meets their needs much more effectively than the studio does. The biggest drawback on the studio is that when you put the pen up to the screen, it will actually draw pixels before your pen even touches the monitor. And so that's jumping the gun. We don't want to be jumping the gun. We want the pixels to be produced only when the pen is touched to the screen. I think that Microsoft is playing to the least common denominator when they adopt Apple's model of all-in-one desktops that are planned to be obsolete. They will be disposable within a year, year and a half, 2 years at an incredible cost premium. $3,000 for a device that you're only going to get 1 to 2 years out of is unacceptable. My Alienware X51 desktop is something that I can upgrade over the course of the next 5 years with the latest and greatest components. I don't need to throw it out. It doesn't need to contaminate the water table with the leaching of different metallic elements. It doesn't need to disintegrate in a landfill after some third world child strips off the few components that are easy to sell and irradiates himself and his family with carcinogens. That is not a practice I need to be a part of, and I refuse to be a part of that. So in closing, I would highly recommend anyone who's in the market for a computer to go with a desktop that includes a tower where the RAM, the graphics card, and the processor and the hard drive can be replaced as needed, and I recommend that you hold on to your desktop tower for 5 years or more and buck the trend of replacing our devices every year and a half, 2 years. I appreciate your time, and this is the closing of Mark Abel's Rants. Look forward to seeing you soon.